Hey everyone, welcome to today's explainer. So imagine trying to manage a small city's worth of temporary workers every single day. One single scheduling mistake, it could literally cost you thousands. Well, that's the massive operational headache happening right now in the booming GCC staffing market. And today, we're diving into the software that's aiming to become its central nervous system. I'm talking about RabtOS, which is an AI-powered contingent workforce operating system. If you really want to understand how staffing agencies and major enterprises are deploying thousands of temporary workers, dealing with absolutely chaotic payrolls, and capturing lost revenue, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's do a quick run-through of our roadmap for today. Section 1 is the GCC workforce boom. Section 2, the fragmentation problem. Section 3 covers the RabtOS solution. Then we'll hit core tech and AI in Section 4, the market opportunity in 5, and finally, building a regional platform in Section 6. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the GCC workforce boom. We're looking at a massively growing economy. 34.9 million workers. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's roughly the entire population of Canada just moving dynamically through the GCC workforce in 2024. What's really incredible here is the trajectory. From 2020 to 2024, the region saw an explosive 24.8% growth in its workforce. In the UAE alone, the private sector workforce jumped another 12.4% recently. I mean, that is a staggering amount of human capital moving into the region.
So where is everyone actually working? Well, they're flooding into highly physical, workforce-intensive sectors. We're talking about the logistics powering your online deliveries, the hospitality at your favorite hotels, construction, retail, events, healthcare, the whole shebang. These are industries that don't just hire a few people to sit at a desk, right? They require really complex, large-scale, shift-based staffing that spans hundreds of different physical sites every single day.
Moving on to Section 2, the fragmentation problem. Let's talk about disconnected systems. All of this really begs the question, why are temporary workforce operations so fundamentally different? Why does standard, off-the-shelf HR software just completely break down when it tries to handle thousands of temporary workers across multiple client sites? It's a fascinating problem.
Well, the answer lies in a pretty wild paradox. Basically, raw time simply does not equal payable or billable time. Say worker spends 8 hours on site. Simple, right? Actually, wrong. Those same 8 hours generate wildly different financial transactions. For the worker, it means gross pay, maybe specific overtime rules and allowances. But for the client being billed, those exact same hours trigger totally different billing rates, markups, and service charges. So one single shift splits into two entirely different financial realities.
And because of all that complexity, staffing agencies have ended up with a seriously broken journey. It's a fragmented mess. A candidate is found in an ATS, or applicant tracking system. They're onboarded in some endless Excel sheet and, incredibly, scheduled for their shift via a chaotic WhatsApp group. Then, time is tracked in a separate workforce management tool, dumped into manual timesheets, and eventually squeezed into payroll. This multi-platform reality is exactly what leads to costly margin leakage, huge payroll errors, and major compliance blind spots.
This actually brings us to a really powerful insight from the RabtOS founders. They realized the problem is not lack of software. The problem is too many disconnected systems. The crucial point here is that agencies are literally drowning in tools. What they actually need is a unified operational layer that just connects all the dots.
All right, Section 3, the RabtOS solution. Let's look at unified operations.
So RabtOS defines itself as the contingent workforce middle office. You can kind of think of it like the transmission of a car. It's not the engine finding the candidates, and it's not the wheels paying them. It sits perfectly in the middle, translating the placement directly into financial revenue. It's not trying to replace recruitment software, and it's certainly not trying to replace massive payroll or ERP systems. Instead, it just occupies that completely fragmented operational space connecting the two.
Let's walk through how this builds into an incredibly clean, unified path. The core flow starts the exact moment a client places an order. From there, the system handles digital onboarding, assigns the worker to a specific client site, tracks their workforce time, simultaneously calculates the pay and bill rates, and pushes it straight to invoice. It transforms that messy WhatsApp and Excel nightmare we talked about earlier into one seamless linear journey from demand to revenue.
Okay, Section 4, core tech and AI. We are diving into the engine room.
Remember that paradox of time we were just talking about? Well, here is the brilliant core innovation RabtOS uses to solve it.
It's an engine that takes one approved timesheet and instantly splits it into two distinct financial ledgers. On the worker side, it calculates gross pay, specific overtime, and allowances. At the exact same time, on the client side, it calculates the client bill, overtime billing, and markups. By doing this in real time, staffing agencies finally get immediate visibility into their true assignment margins way before payroll is even run. It's a game changer.
But of course, none of this really matters if a worker isn't legally allowed on site, right? To solve this, RabtOS introduces something they call a GCC compliance twin. It continuously combines a worker's identity, visa status, skills, and client-specific rules into a real-time status. It's super simple. Green means ready, yellow is warning, orange flags an expiring document, and red means not eligible. It mathematically ensures the right worker is legally cleared for the right site, which completely eliminates the massive legal risks and hefty fines that agencies face every single day.
Now, as they've integrated artificial intelligence into all of this, they establish a really crucial enterprise boundary, which is AI assists decisions, rules control money. Honestly, this is absolute music to a CFO's ears. While their AI is incredibly smart at predicting things, highly deterministic, auditable, country-specific rules always handle the actual cash calculations. AI never autonomously determines pay or billing.
But where the AI does operate, it acts like this hyper-vigilant operational analyst. They use an AI onboarding agent to extract info from IDs and visas, AI workforce matching to ensure the best fit for a shift, and they even have no-show prediction models. But the real standout for me is the Margin Intelligence Copilot. You can literally just ask it which approved hours remain unbilled, or which assignments are dropping below a 15% margin, and it instantly flags those anomalies for you.
Section 5, Market Opportunity. Let's look at those SaaS economics. So, we've got a massive market, a deep operational headache, and a really powerful tech solution. Based on the founders' management scenarios, if RabtOS captures just 5 to 10% of that massive GCC workforce, focusing specifically on outsourced, temporary, and shift workers, and charges a B2B SaaS rate of about 25 dirhams per active worker per month, the total addressable market for this specific software layer is staggering. We are talking between 525 million and over 1 billion dirhams in annual recurring revenue.
And those B2B SaaS economics, they scale incredibly fast over a 7-year projection. They aim to grow from validating with just 2,000 active workers in year 1 to a massive 420,000 active workers on the platform by year 7. Because of that recurring per employee per month subscription model, that worker volume translates to projected total revenues jumping from roughly 680,000 dirhams in year 1 to over 185 million dirhams by year 7.
The ultimate takeaway here is the highly profitable trajectory they're on. The target is a positive EBITDA by year 3, escalating to over 76 million dirhams by year 7. It's a clear, rapid path to profitability once the platform starts scaling across the region.
And finally, Section 6, Regional Platform. Here's their growth strategy. They have mapped out a highly precise, phased geographic expansion strategy, and it's fueled by a 1.2 million dirham initial funding ask. The timeline starts with UAE product validation and live pilots in the first 9 months. Then, by month 15, they target full commercial rollout in the UAE. From there, momentum builds as months 12 to 24 focus heavily on launching in Saudi Arabia, complete with a specific Saudi compliance rule pack, before aggressively rolling out to Qatar, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait in years 3 through 5.
So, we've covered the explosive GCC workforce growth, the costly fragmentation of legacy software, and exactly how RabtOS aims to unify this whole space with AI and real-time ledger technology. It leaves us with a pretty fascinating final question. By successfully digitizing the operational layer for millions of workers, will RabtOS ultimately become the foundational operating system for the entire GCC contingent economy? It is an incredibly ambitious vision, and for sure a journey worth watching. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.